Hello, everybody. Welcome to PartnerTalks. And today I have a very special guest from PayTrace, Jeremy Boogaart. Jeremy, introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. So I'm Jeremy Boogaart. I run the product team at PayTrace. I've been doing that for probably about 3 years at this point. Before that, I was one of the original people at SalesPad. So SalesPad, long time ISV for Great Plains, doing CRM, inventory management, warehouse management, kind of all operational things for distributors and manufacturers. So I spent about 17 years there.
So you're quite familiar with our business application space then?
I am, yes. Yeah, I would say that I really professionally cut my teeth in the channel. So I've been here pretty much my whole professional career, and really love it. It's been a great home for me.
Okay, so Jeremy, tell us about PayTrace for those who are not familiar with the organization.
Yeah, so PayTrace is payment processor. So we do credit card and ACH processing. PayTrace was founded a little over 20 years ago, specifically to solve the payments challenges for B2B organizations. And really continue that DNA today. That is our entire focus. All of our resources, everything is focused on the problems for B2B companies.
And which Dynamics products do you integrate with?
Yeah, so PayTrace is a little bit unique in that we started out as a payment gateway. We didn't always do full service processing, didn't always do ACH, and for a long time, we worked with, a lot of payments ISOs. We did a lot of payment processing kind of in the background for a lot of organizations. And the neat thing about that is, for a long time, we were one of the only B2B providers with an open API. So we have a lot of integrations in our marketplace. So we have a lot of integrations to pretty much every system that you could think of. But when I started, I came here to really build out and strengthen our integrated payments in B2B. And so at that point, we started working a little harder on our platform, our payments platform, and specifically on some specific integrations. And so we have integrations through partners to pretty much every system, but we've started to build out native integrations as well that we own. And so Business Central is really our first Microsoft one there. We're looking at doing others, but Business Central, made the most sense. As much as, I love things like GP, and we do have partners that support GP, writing for the future meant Business Central for kind of mid-market B2B enterprise. So that's where we currently sit as far as native integrated Microsoft products.
And with Microsoft announcing 50,000 Business Central customers last fall in Poznan at the Directions EMEA, we've got Directions North America. Who knows what that number is going to be, but I think you're in the right place at the right time. So are there any specific types of B2B customers that get the most leverage out of your products?
Yeah, so we tend to, our SIC codes that we tend to do best in or have the most of are really in kind of the wholesale goods areas. So wholesale distribution, manufacturing, any of the durable, non-durable goods. We also do well in professional services, B2B professional services, but it tends to be a lot of the hard goods industries. So we're really focused on sort of enabling some of those complex workflows that, B2B distribution has with, partial shipments and deposits and all the nuances that come with that, and storing cards and paying, or having multiple, cards on file. That sort of thing is really kind of what we're focused on.
Okay, excellent. So, we're talking in March of 2026. So we're almost done Q1. But what have we got coming for the rest of the year at PayTrace that we need to get excited about?
Yeah, so we've been pretty diligently, so I think we're in year 2 or 3. I think we're year 2 of our native BC integration, and we've had a lot of success with a lot of merchants, and it's given us a lot of great feedback in the product. And so we've integrated a lot of the feedback that we've gotten from customers throughout the product. So we've done a lot with the recurring module as that's come out. We've added a lot of options around partial payments and shipments and the way that those can go out, and a lot of configurability. A lot of our focus is on being able to configure the automation behind payments. You have cards on file, and when you do a partial shipment, do you fully pay that, or do you do re-auth after that? So there's a lot of automation in there around if you have cards attached and there are certain payment methods, certain flags. It's really focused on as low touch as possible, because we know that in those industries, automation is really important. Anytime that you're spending extra clicks and spending time, not only is there opportunity for error, there's also just an added cost. And so we're really focused on elements like that, and we've added additional APIs for integrating things like e-commerce platforms. So being able to do things like authorize on a portal and capture later on shipment in the system, having that full loop fully integrated, so that you don't have to have users going in and touching transactions, or having to charge on the portal because you can't charge on fulfillment. That sort of thing is those are the areas that we're focused on. So we've added a lot of things around batch processing, around those different areas of automation. Things like that are really what we're focused on in the next year, is taking it to that next level of really automating even more operations.
I think that's important for this Business Central space, because when we first got involved with Business Central, we talked about it as a replacement for a smaller system like a QuickBooks Enterprise. But what we're really seeing out there with the ISVs building onto this, we're seeing, what we used to see in the F&O, the finance world type integrations, where somebody will have Business Central and they'll have 5 to 10 ISVs building out the functionality. So your ability to be integrated into the product and have the APIs to other areas is really, really important.
Yeah, it really is. And I think, one of the things that's really important that I've learned kind of doing this for so long is nobody is the same, right? And so it's really easy to check the box and say you have an integration. I think the really important parts are the configurability and the partnership with the merchants and the customers. I think every integration that we've done, every conversation with customers, there's always some small thing that has to get tweaked. Building in, having that right balance of being a good partner, being agile enough to make changes that people need, and having all the configuration there so that you can really tailor it down to what they need. And ideally not, those aren't code changes, right? Those are configuration changes. And so really building the platform up from that place of being able to handle all these different options, having things driven off of events, off of fields, really gives you a lot more flexibility as you get into things. And some of the other things that we're working on or releasing here shortly, as you were saying, there are just a lot of partners, right? And there's a lot of good software partners. So we're adding MEM integration this year, for example, right? So it's important to understand that there's an ecosystem. Everybody's putting in, the thing I used to quote was 8 ISVs, per install or something like that. It's probably more now, right? I think that the barrier has come down with AppSource and it being much easier to deploy. When we started, we barely got any traction from AppSource. Now we have people loading stuff directly without ever talking to us, which is just not something we used to see, even 3-4 years ago. So it really is important that you have that flexibility, because while it might work with base Business Central, people are stacking on, all these other great partners to do these other things, which is great, but it does it can make more complex workflows that you have to be, aware of those other partners. You have to be flexible in your own deployments and really have to be a good partner, right? To consult with people about what is the best way to get this done, because oftentimes there is no best way. There's, many ways with many options, and working through that with the customers.
So let's jump over to that conversation now about partners. And, partners mean a lot to PayTrace. So let's talk a little bit about what a good partner relationship looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, coming from, way back in the day for me, partners have always been, the lifeblood of this entire ecosystem, right? It's it's complicated. Business is hard. There's a lot of ISVs, and coordinating all of that really takes experts. And so we used to say the first question was, whenever anyone asked it, is who's your partner, and who are you talking to, and make sure that you kind of establish, who you're working with. And a lot of times, if you get direct questions from customers, which you do when you have good relationships with them, right? And sometimes they're questions in areas that aren't, exactly, or they span different domains, is to be, looping the partner in as soon as possible and having those conversations. So it's really important to build up those relationships. And, that takes time in the trenches and working with the partners. And so we, at PayTrace, we really, respect that partnership and, have all those processes in place so that we are making sure that we're, working together, looping in, because it really is a group effort, right? There are a lot of those shared boundaries with other ISVs, with partners, and, very few of the decisions that we're making happen in a bubble. So, we really, I think we've built up a good program, for partners and working with partners.
And what I noticed about PayTrace is when they started really coming into this space, they hired like yourself and people like Mary Miller, who understand our channel, understand how to work with partners. That's really important when, an ISV comes into the space, because it is different than a lot of the direct markets that they're used to working in.
Yeah, absolutely. Very different muscle in go-to-market, in sales, in operations. It really, I think when Mary and I started, that was a lot of the work that we did, was kind of building up that knowledge in the organization that was, didn't have that sort of ERP, Microsoft channel experience. Was, what does that work like? How do you work with partners? What questions do you ask? And, it's different than some of the other markets that we work in.
So since we're both used to working with Microsoft in this market, and we want to be a frontier partner, right? That's important. What are we doing with AI? Let's talk a little bit about PayTrace and, your directions and what you've got going over there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I feel like every conversation with AI is accelerating over the last 6 months or so, and really kind of we're hitting some, I think, some critical inflection points. And, we've obviously been hearing about it for years and all that, but we are starting to see, I think, some of the, some of the turn there into some really valuable areas. And, we hit it on a number of fronts. So we have, on the payment processing side, both in the underwriting process and in the risk and frauds area, we have pretty advanced AI features that will identify transactions, identify risk, hold proactively, help us reach out to merchants when, there are areas where, fraud can happen, and it's all over the place, right? It's not individual transactions. Sometimes it's, you have open links, or you do other things. Like, we live in these complex environments where, not everything is through us. Some stuff comes via API, and, we're monitoring all of that all the time, kind of in the background with AI. But even just taking a step back into the, less customer facing side, we're using it all over the business to, work on, different areas, on enablement, on knowledge basing, on, it's really changing our delivery of the software as well, in ways that are less obvious, that are happening as well. And, if we look at, big item from last year, Visa released basically their largest, most sweeping change to B2B payments that they've done since they introduced, B2B commercial card programs with the CEDP program. And that would change, how they did interchange and rates for level 3 and corporate rates for corporate cards. And, we have a lot of AI behind the scenes that we utilize to, help with all of the processes to support that as well, and connecting the data, getting the data out from the systems, making sure that that's all propagated, all that sort of thing. So we use it in a lot of different areas, and pretty much everything we do, going forward is, are there agents or other things that we can do to make this process easier for merchants, whether it's in matching or other areas. That stuff has really come along quite a ways.
And, what I find exciting is, I'm starting to work with some partners, especially in the BC space, that are starting to really leverage AI and agents. So it's going to be really exciting to see a product like yours and some, these partners out there that are kind of, tinkering with things and building things, coming together to see really what kind of solutions we're going to have built out by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some really cool stuff across the board, pretty soon. I think there's a lot easier and better ways to kind of utilize those signals and pull those out of the ERP data, that we're going to start to see some really cool products.
So, talking about partners again, we've got Directions coming up in just a few weeks in Orlando, which is the Business Central Partner Show. Jeremy, tell me a little bit about why PayTrace finds Directions such an important show.
Yeah, well, I'd be remiss not to mention that, Mary Miller, one of the pillars of PayTrace, is also on the Directions board. So we very much love Directions, here at PayTrace. But Directions is kind of a unique event, right? I've been in this space for a long time, and you've got your traditional sort of Microsoft customer and partner events and education, and those are great. They certainly, from lead gen, other aspect are great events. There's something really unique about Directions and the partner-only mentality that you get there, right? There's a lot more collaboration. No one has to be as on as they are when, customers are entertaining partners are entertaining customers. You get a lot more access. You get to have more honest conversations. There are really great sessions there around what does great partnership look like between partners and ISVs, things like that. Really, make it irreplaceable. And I really always enjoy the side conversations that happen at Directions, and that partner focus really, I think, is more about, the ecosystem and how we go forward and what's working and sharing. That happens like at Directions in a way that it doesn't happen at other events.
And I think you're right in saying it's not like any other event, because I grew up in the CRM world, right? And as partners, we all knew each other and talked to each other, but we didn't hang out, right? And when you go to Directions, I think because it's a community that was really built around leveraging ISVs, we all learned how to work together. And it just seems, you start a breakfast at Directions and you don't stop talking to people until they close the bar or whenever you leave the bar at night. It's ongoing, it's intense. And for those who haven't been to Directions, if you're an ISV, every decision maker is there for the partner world to meet, right? And if you're a partner, you're going to learn more about what's going on and, tribal knowledge, of exactly what's happening out there. Directions is by far the best show.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very collaborative, right? I think you mentioned there, like learning from, people are not protective of knowledge. They will answer your questions. It is a great place to go to learn, great place to, especially if you're new to the channel, go ask questions, go find mentors. People are very willing to talk, to accept, to, let you into the circle, so to speak.
Okay. All right, Jeremy, I want to thank you for your time today, and I'm sure we'll be back to talk to you at some point in PayTrace about, what's going on with your product in the world of business applications and Business Central, and I look forward to catching up with you at Directions.
Yeah, absolutely. Come find us at Directions. We're right across from the Microsoft booth. We have a session on Tuesday at 2. We'll have a whole team there. Come see us.
Okay. Thanks, Jeremy. Have a great day, and bye for now.
Thanks.